That's me in the very beginning. Now I am a baby and getting zoomed from my mom to my birthday. I don't remember a lot about my younger life, but I remember it was fun and I felt so safe. My mom and dad always happy. I guess my mom's sister was mad that my dad was so great, so she called the police and said he hit my mom. We were all reading in the game, I heard my dad yelling, "There's no way!" My mom was crying loudly. Some lady took us away. The court said my parents abused and neglected us. They only loved us. The caseworker lied. I never saw my parents again. I'm still hoping one day they come. I am a victim of CPS and so are my parents. We need to find justice in all of this madness for all of us that are being abused. It's not fair. Every kid I know has a mom and dad. I know they miss me. I bet they fight every day for me to come home.
Don't get caught like us. Know your rights.
All right, everybody, welcome to Monday evening. It is Canadian Monday, or North American Monday, here on CPS Victims Hunting for Justice. Today was just a normal day for Monday when I was waking up and I was saying, well, here we go, another week to kick off this thing. And, after such a great week last week, coming up with information and things that we could pass on, I was like, how can we even begin to top that week? And, lo and behold, what do we see? All over the news is Puff Daddy is involved in sex trafficking and so on and so it goes. His houses will be searched and people will be founded and all of this. And all of us that have had our kids taken by CPS and have been crying out loud for all this stuff for all these years are like, finally, maybe it'll be a break, right? But will it be? This is the scary part. What is going to what's going to overtake this? We are all sitting here at the bottom level feeders, I guess, to the trafficking, meaning parents that CPS have removed their children, taken them and inserted them in that. We're the source here, but is it going to be overtaken by the celebrity status and make human trafficking a different issue than what it is? While I was looking up this topic tonight, I found this breakdown here, and I'm going to read this. It's from X. It's a pretty interesting article that this person wrote. It says, human trafficking exposure operation, the timed release. It says, 1, Elon draws attention to Pizzagate, lets it go viral, deletes posts to make it go viral. Many became familiar with Pizzagate. The cognitive suggestion left to soak in. Arrests all over the nation of 5 to 50 people, rings involved in sexual exploitation of women and children. Dozens in past couple of months adds legitimacy to Pizzagate. Judge Loretha Preska orders release of Epstein's flight log, shot across the bow to all involved. People think, maybe it's real. 4. Knowing this was coming, Gates and RFK Jr. and others released cover stories. Expect more. That and resignations. Good time for cyber attack. 5. When flight logs are released, it will go viral. Elon will see to it, as will Tucker. Weeks, months will be spent denying. Many resignations will occur. People will be in shock. Their favorite actors, singers, politicians, denial will be huge. 6. Next phase will expose physical evidence of those in the list involved with sexual abuse of women, men, and some children. Then out comes the reasoning for the flight and its fake calls. It was only a vacation my family went to. It wasn't me. Think claiming fake AI images, video, and audio. By now, people will accept and become angry. Post-election into we finish. Then the bomb drops. Evidence of children's sexual abuse by the same. People will want mass arrest, justice. Number 8. Then it will be linked to Child Protective Services and other agencies involved in international human trafficking conglomerate, showing it isn't one-offs and it's a global business. 9. Then the people involved at a scale will be exposed. The kingpins, people will want 100 times more justice. Use your imagination there. 10. Mass arrests, trials, and justice. Then they write, then the healing can commence. Closure. You think 9/11 brought people together? This will unite the world forever. Mama bears and Papa bears united around the safety of their children. Quantum checkmate. That's pretty damn impressive, and it's pretty much going with the flow. At this point now, I'm going to bring in my ladies, Miss Josee from the Great North, and Miss Melissa here from the South. Ladies, how are we doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. Hope all's well with you.
You guys have any updates before we go tap into that? What do we got going on with you guys and stuff? Anything good? Yeah, go for it, Josee. Jump right in.
Okay, so I am a week and 1 day away from going to the courthouse again to see if they will accept the charges for the human trafficking against CPS. So that's what I'm in right now. And another update is I finally got that the hospital to call me back.
Yeah.
So it's funny because when I called the floor of the nursing, I've been waiting for a month now for her to call me back.
Yeah.
She finally called me back and she's like, did you make any complaints to the hospital? And I'm like, yeah, I made. And she's like, well, can I have the name? Because I have to verify, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, just 1 second. So I came upstairs to get my book. And I was like, on this date, at this time, I talked to this person, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I don't think she was expecting me to have everything recorded.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, I'm going to need a response about what your protocol is, because I want to know because basically she told me that it was CPS, but I was like, can I have this in writing? And I want a copy of your protocol. And she's like, well, it's not going to be me. It's going to be the person that made a complaint. And I'm like, well, if you can't provide me the answer before the 2nd of April, I'm going to have to go to court and get it mandated out of you. And I said, your name is going to be on my list for today.
Right.
You're going to be in my book now too. And she's like, okay, but so I didn't get any answers.
So hard. Right, they're trying so hard to cover this up for you. They're making it
100%.
very difficult when it's very easy. So clearly that's got to be, they're doing something wrong. They're hiding something, right? It has to be. How can it not be,
Yeah.
Did the hospital, did anywhere near the administration, nowhere near the hospital administrator have gotten to you though, right? That was the first.
Well, she was, because first off, I called, this is how it went. So I called the security guards, and I asked, how do you guys get a call to show up to the floor? And they confirmed that it's normally the floor that calls them to arrange it. They get orders from whoever's the director of the floor. So I said, okay. So and then I called the 3rd floor where my daughter gave birth. And then I got the nurse and I said, hi, I'm just wondering, what is the procedure for when you get a birth alert? And automatically, when I said that, she goes, I'm the head nurse. And then she goes, well, why don't you call the DPG, the CPS? And I said, funny, because I never mentioned CPS. So
Right.
are you confirming that you get your orders from CPS? And then she got baffled and she's like, well, I'm not answering this question. Who are you? And then she started asking me like a whole bunch of questions. And then she transferred me to her boss, which is
good.
the one that asked if I made a complaint and blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. So there.
So
So
they know-
I got
they
it.
know where
It's
the crossfires
CPS.
are. They're in the crosshairs. They're for sure. They know where they know that you're coming for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Josie, I had a question for you because I'm originally from Michigan, and Michigan had some pretty phooey rules like that. Does Canada have what's called the birth match system?
We have birth alerts.
Okay, so I'm very familiar with how that system works because Michigan has it too. Now, see, Alabama don't have it. Oh, hell, Ohio don't even have it. But Michigan has it. So every time an expected mother comes into the hospital and they put her social security number in that system, it pops up if it was ever substantiated, and it's mandated that the hospital automatically call the department.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's what happened in your case, right, Jones?
Pretty much. We're
But for
still
no reason,
not
right?
100% sure, but she was flagged 100%. We know 100% that the social worker called the hospital to see if she's given birth. So now we're still in that. Does she get it from social assistance before the pregnancy? Nothing is confirmed yet. We know it's a birth alert 100%, but we just don't know.
Does she have other kids?
No.
Then
She got Olio, right? That's like our
Olo,
way.
yeah. Olio was
it's
the
like
name
our
of the
way.
program she was on, yeah.
That's her tie to that.
yeah,
You
because
guys-
that's retarded. Because in Michigan, you have to have a substantiated history with them.
No.
Yeah, she got nothing. Nothing at all. It's crazy.
I would be challenging. Like they say, the best way to beat them at their own game is use their own procedures against them.
Exactly.
Get copies of their handbooks and start challenging your rights.
That's what I'm doing in a week.
You know, you may not have a U.S. Constitution, but England, the English laws still, Canada and all of them still have quite a bit of constitutional equivocal to protect you.
Yeah,
Charter
we have
of
the Charter of Rights. Yeah.
Now, do you have similar laws and rules and things like that we do, or is it also right?
We don't
to
have
free
like the
speech?
Fifth Amendment and stuff. I'm not well versed. I know we have the Charter of Rights.
They do have a right of due process, though. And see, here in the United States, the right of due process is the biggest one to challenge because the entire way the CPS system is built, and this was actually, I talked to a world-renowned professor of constitutional law because we have something here called the Supremacy Clause. Meaning that anything against our Constitution is void from the start. Well, to screw with your life and liberty and family, that's against the Constitution, so it should be void. And me and him had this long debate, and he told me, he says, everything CPS stands for on its infringement of the family unit is a violation of due process. And he says it, and he told me, he says it don't matter what country you're from, every country in the world has some form of protection of due process. And he says that's where the strongest fight lies.
And how are you doing? How are your things going?
Well, my case was put on hold because we made constitutional argument and kind of ticked off the whole courtroom. They said something about they thought someone might be abusing my daughter in the one home. I asked the worker about it. 2 hours later, my daughter's in a whole new home. No clues to where she is. They ain't telling me anything, even though they have no whatever. But tomorrow's an ISP meeting, so I should be finding out something.
Now, also, now if they move your child, does that go back into like this, like is this them a way to try to recontract you to get themselves back on track where you haven't been adjudicated or you hadn't been?
No, but actually it works to my favor because they've had her in that home for close to 2 years.
Yeah.
And the argument would be that the bond with the foster is greater than the bond with the parent.
Okay.
Being that she's turning 2. So now by moving her, the bond is no greater.
Right. So that's out of the picture for that portion.
Right. And I think they was looking for an excuse to move her from there anyways. They had found out that this particular set of foster placements had kind of started bucking the system a little, and they've seen all the dirt and they're not happy with it. And the only reason they still maintained a foster license is because they was looking to buy my daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she's no longer with them. They ain't going to get the chance to buy her. They ain't going to get the chance to buy her anyways because they've already made it very clear that they want to do a family placement even though there's 0 allegations against us.
I hope not. I hope that this just gets over for you because there is nothing. Just like in Josie's stuff, there's nothing.
Well, I mean, Darren, you've read my paperwork. There's like really, really, truly nothing.
Right. Yep. Both of you guys are on the same thing. You're like, what the hell? You know, both of you were doing things that you thought were right by helping your daughters, introducing them to situations, and instead of, coming back and helping you and assist you, they screwed you over. I mean, now what kind of what does that say to people when you're like, hey, I want some help with my kid, please help me? And they're getting all this money for these programs, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? We're gonna not help your kid. We're gonna take your other kids, and like, what does that say? Hey, Brooke, we got Brooke on here. She's talking with us a bunch of things. She's saying, yep, it's like a trick that they. Wow, my trunk there fell down. It's a trick that they play. It sure is. Brooke, I'm in Maine. Josee is in Canada, and Melissa is down in Alabama. Oh, she does advocating. Brooke does advocating. Brooke, do you want to, I can send you a link if you want to come in here and chat with us for a minute. That'd be really cool. She does advocating all across the unit, wherever she can, she says. That wouldn't suck to have her on here speaking with us. Maybe she'll have some inside tips for us. She's in Minnesota, so perfect. Yeah, Brooke, if you want.
Heck, that's where Kim's at right now. Kim's up in Minnesota.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So what do you think? What do you think P Diddy is gonna get?
You know what? I've been reading up on this. I never even. I'm gonna be honest. This is how I didn't realize the Epstein connection and how much they've been after him a long time for this.
Well, he was on the Epstein flight list. They said.
I saw that. It's crazy. This thing's crazy, and it's just developing more and more as the moments go. I got it going in the news right here. Let me see here. Let's see if this.
But what is Homeland Security for you guys? Is it like the police for like the military? And what's
they're like everything. They're
FBI.
Everything.
They would Homeland Security here is pretty much wannabe state troopers. With a little more authority and a little less education.
Yeah, they have their hand in. They have their hand in everything. Even DHHS was under their grasp, under the Department of Homeland Security.
Okay.
That was created. So that was created after 9/11 when they put all the czars. Remember, they called them the czars of each one of these because they wanted everybody to come together. So you have the FBI, CIA, like all of them conglomerate together to create Homeland Security, different branches of services,
Okay.
things like that.
Oh, hey, Darren, did you
Yeah.
hear about the new Democratic bill that they rushed through, that Pelosi rushed through the House, that they get passed? They just dumped a bunch more money into reopening the borders. They dumped a bunch more money into Ukraine, and they dumped a bunch more money into Chinese germ warfare research stuff.
Oh, here in Canada, we're getting a carbon tax the 1st of April.
Oh wow, they just are going and going and going, huh? Carbon tax now. So that's like what? Your footprint that you leave?
Yes.
All right, here we go. I got this one here. Let's see.
Don't worry, next week they'll charge you a tax for breathing air.
I
Well,
know.
they're coming close to that already. Let's see. So Brooke is going to give me an email. So check this out. I'll show you. This will explain everything about the P. Diddy connection right here. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, that's all over the news down here right now. They got it on all the news stations.
Yeah.
Well, did you see the thing about 2 months ago? They was trying to say that P. Diddy was in on the Tupac murder and all that. And then they turn around and they not only discovered, but they actually raided his house in Canada, but Tupac's still alive.
Yeah, that's what some guys were saying, that he was in P. Diddy's attic. That's what they were saying on one of the things earlier.
When we initially reported on this Diddy lawsuit, it just seemed very convoluted and difficult to decode, but I've seen that this story is gaining more and more traction over the last few days and over the weekend. So I decided it would be best for us to revisit it because the details are getting more and more disturbing, and I feel like the media coverage didn't fully articulate a lot of these stories. So basically, to recap, this is a 73-page lawsuit that was filed by Rodney Jones, who was a producer for P. Diddy's Love album from 2022 to 2023. And all of the things that he is accounting in this lawsuit were that recent. So it's not like we're bringing things up from the 90s or the 2000s or even the 2010s. This is all recent stuff. So not only did this producer allege that he was the victim of sexual misconduct, but he made it much more broad and basically said that P. Diddy was running a RICO enterprise out of his Miami home, trafficking in guns, in drugs, and procuring prostitutes, some of them underage. And
right down the street from Epstein's old mansion, right?
Misconduct, basically, through this whole power structure that he's built around himself. And it just gets deeper and deeper. So essentially, people are calling him the Jeffrey Epstein of the music industry, or at least the rap industry, the rap world. Because it's an open question that we're not going to answer today because we're just, basing this off of what information is available to us. It's an open question how much of the entertainment industry and politics and every industry is hinging upon a network of sexual blackmail leverage, basically.
Let's talk about that for a second. Now, how often do we hear this in all of these stories? Where is CPS when you're hearing about NFL athletes that are, doing these things? Where's CPS when these athletes are found doing enhancing drugs? Where's CPS for all of these children? P. Diddy has 6 kids. Where are all of these children, and where is CPS? You don't ever hear CPS being involved in these rich people in their allegations or their problems, but you get caught smoking a joint or you do something ridiculous or you get some sort of an action, CPS is banging on our doors here in the United States.
Well, you guys must have heard that little girl that was left alone for 10 days, right?
No.
You didn't hear it?
No.
It's huge. So it's in the United States. This mother left for 10 days on vacation and left a 3-year-old by herself
What?
for like 10 days.
What?
And then supposedly, this is allegedly, she lived with her grandma, her mother, and her sister or whatever. They were also gone on vacation. But then if you listen to the story, it's as if this isn't the first time this has happened. Where the fuck was CPS? Like,
Right.
where's the family? Where's the people like saying that this baby was in danger, you know? But
Right.
you know, CPS is gonna come in, they're gonna save the day, they're gonna be heroes, but like they weren't there for the beginning of the
imminent
2
danger,
years where she
imminent
obviously
danger
was
period.
neglected.
Right. Yep. And it'll be a month before they show up there now too, probably.
Yeah.
But you're right. They'll come in there and they'll use this as a poster piece for CPS to be freaking heroes. But yet that kid stayed alive probably by eating carpet and doing whatever it could do, because I mean 10 days being by themselves at that age. I mean, how did they stay alive? They did something. You know, I'm sure they didn't have their meals planned for them.
I
How
know.
are they even
And
left
at
alone
this
to
point,
begin
is
with?
it real? Like I don't even believe in the news anymore. I'm just like, okay. But all I've been seeing is like horror stories. That Frankie one, that woman that lived in Utah, that was a Mormon or whatever, that got her kids, that tied them up and everything, and she was a mom influencer. Did you see that?
No.
Oh my God, it's on TikTok all week. I'm just like, why is my algorithm doing this? Well, guess what? CPS went in. They found the little girl that was maybe like 7 or 8 years old in a closet. She stayed there for 4 hours while the cops were like, "Are you hungry?" Gave her a pizza, blah blah. And now the mom is in jail, but because she had like six kids and she did horrible things, and she was a mom influencer and nobody noticed it, and the dad was separated for like a year. A very story, and of course CPS came in and they're the heroes again because they're gonna save those little children, right? Like,
yeah. So was it this story here? Was it the mom that went on vacation to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I think so. That's something like that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's take a look at this thing here. Let's take a look at this. Let's see what they're saying.
Oh God. Yeah.
Man, where the hell is Herbert? I don't know where Herbert is tonight. I hope he's all right.
The negative harms that have been caused by tobacco in my community have been death and
left her 16-month-old daughter Jalen alone and unattended at her home beginning on June 6 of 2023. Candelario didn't return home until 10 days later on the 16th. And upon returning home, she made the tragic discovery. Her daughter was found unresponsive in what investigators described as a filthy playpen. She had been extremely dehydrated, and the young toddler was pronounced dead at the scene. According to the medical examiner, Jalen's body was extremely emaciated. She weighed less than 14 pounds at the time of her death. Investigators say Candelario left her daughter alone while she vacationed in Detroit and Puerto Rico. She was arrested and booked a day after returning home and discovering her daughter's body. In February of 2020, Candelario pleaded guilty to charges including aggravated murder and endangering children. During Candelario's sentencing,
What did she
the
think was
prosecution
gonna
said
happen?
investigators combed through more than 600 hours of Ring camera footage, which actually showed Candelario left her daughter alone for 2 days before she jetted off on her vacation.
If in fact we would have gone to trial, the evidence was going to show that Crystal Candelaria left the state of Ohio on 6/4/2023. She leaves because there is a receipt that's found in her car that she is in Taylor, Michigan. Unbeknownst to Ms. Candelario, her neighbors had Ring doorbell, and the Cleveland Police Department Homicide Unit has gone through 648 hours and videos of the Ring doorbell, which you're going to see in this presentation.
Give your
Now,
skin what it's asking
people
for.
think is going to happen? Seriously. And now, if those people next door have a Ring doorbell and they're watching this shit, why wouldn't they have come to the rescue of that kid, right? Like, what the hell were they thinking? I don't get how these people function like this. This is some crazy shit, right?
But you
Like, yes,
know what, Darren? I know another lady and I know her very closely because unfortunately I'm related to her, that she's got an 8-year-old. She's doing the same thing. I don't think she's been home in a month and a half. The 8-year-old's raising herself. There ain't even lights on. And you know how they said that lady went up to Taylor, Michigan?
Yeah.
My niece is in Taylor, Michigan. Same fucking area.
Oh my God.
And she's doing the same damn thing. She door dashes food to the house. Doesn't even know if the little girl gets to school. Never cleans the house. Never makes sure she has food or water. Goes out of town for weeks on end. And you know how many...
and no one does anything?
No one will do anything. CPS won't do anything. They won't go out there.
Oh my God. That's horrible. Oh man. Are you kidding me? Like, this is just, I know that this stuff happens, but come on, you know, like what type of people are we creating, or what people are alive that make this, like, I'll go eat at Denny's knowing that your kid's in a freaking playpen. You know what I mean? Like, how could you even remotely think that that's okay? But yet we're sitting here fighting for years for our children, you know, like, and we're the bad people. You know, like, this is just crazy. I'm waiting for Brooks' email here.
Well, I think that makes for the poster, the poster advertisement for Don't Do Drugs.
Yeah, well, it's supposed
because a lot of them go off on their drug binges, because that's what my niece is doing. She's off on anything that she could eat, swallow, or snort, and she ain't even thinking about that kid. All she's thinking about is her next high.
That's too bad. It's really too bad. It's too bad that there are people out there in this world that want their kids to be a part of their lives, that need their kids to be a part of their lives, and CPS just rushes right in, takes them away. And, you know, poor Josie's daughter hasn't even had the opportunity to be a mom yet. Like, they didn't even let her be. I mean, Melissa, you didn't even get the opportunity to be a mom to your youngest. Like, what the hell? You know, like, and this is okay. So where is the outrage in the people? Just as much outrage in the people that sit here and be like, where's CPS for this stuff? Where the hell is CPS, or where are the people for us when CPS just storms in and takes our kids, and they see us fighting, they see us screaming, and they see us protesting? We're not drug addicts, we're not drunks, we're not junkies, we're not this, we're not that. We're parents and grandparents that want our fucking kids, and they need to start paying attention to this.
Well, we're not broken people. You know, these broken households, they figure the kids are damaged goods.
You're right, and you're right about
that. Wait a minute. Here's your funny ha-ha to the whole situation, because you know how they want to place with family in my case, right?
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to send my kids to my niece, you know, the one that's leaving her 8-year-old to raise herself. That's where they wanted to send my kids, and they wondered why I protested.
Wow. That's just crazy.
Because I'm sorry, they're safer off in the system where they're at than to be up there with her.
So what do we do? What do we do in this situation? How do you get these people to pay attention to those cases? And again, you're right. It's the damaged good things. That's that slang term. That's all it is. But what do we do to turn this around? Right, we can't, because this is too much money for them. Right, like, there's way too much money in this. Josie, did you find out? I don't know if I ever asked you or not, but have we found out how much money it is in Canada, or how they get their funding? Do you know any of that information? Like, how much money each kid's worth? Is it? Where do they get their funding? Any of that stuff?
They get most of their funding from the government, because it's government owned.
Okay.
So everything is government, and then they have subsidies for how many Indigenous people are in there, how much mental health is in there, and then they get $900 bonus for getting a child taken out of emergency, and then, like, it depends on how many beds, how many kids, you know. It's probably like a certain amount for, like, children, because all different CPS probably have a different amount, right?
Right.
Like if you have a big pool in Montreal, they'll probably get more than like in the outskirts, right?
Well, I mean, your guys' medical system is pretty across the board out there, and that's where most of their money comes out of medical billing. And I know
do you think our medical system is good?
No, I'm from Michigan, and I was married to a doctor. So I seen all the people that come from Canada over to Michigan to get shit done, and I seen all the people from Michigan that went to go buy the shit in Canada they couldn't get in Michigan. But they get paid out of a system that's just like our Medicaid system. When they talk to you on the phone for 15 minutes,
Cha-ching.
Yeah, they get to bill a 15-minute medical consult.
Yeah.
And that's all paid off direct subsidy, because I actually looked into Canadian CPS systems at one point back when we were on the old shows. And it's actually paid off their medical subsidy on a standard fee. And they do have a lower emergency removal cost, but they make more on every 15 minutes billing than they do here in the U.S.
Okay.
So it actually works out to be very close to the same. They just don't get the huge adoption fees like we do.
Well, hold on. So it says here, governments in Canada spent an estimated $798 billion. This is from 2019. The majority of which was directed towards social protection. Now, social protection is like our stuff, right? Like DHS.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Child and adult care.
So it says the Consolidated Canadian General Government, that is federal, provincial, territorial, local, and other government entities combined, increased spending on social protection by 3.4% in 2019 to $200 billion. This accounted for almost 1/4 of the total government spending. Wow. I'm trying to see where I want to find out what you guys get, who gets the money for the kids. Because they say in the United States, if they get one of the kids through a system, it's anywhere between $1 million to $3.5 million, depending on the size of the child, or you know what I mean. Like the kid had mental disabilities and all this stuff. That's what their worth is. Okay, Brooke said she sent the email. Cool. So what I'm trying to find out here is what they get per child in Canada. So I'm looking at something that's called StatCan. I don't know if you know any.
I thought when I was still hosting with Deidre, I had looked into something like that because I had a lady from the UK and a lady from Canada, both that had come on to the show, and I ended up finding something where it seemed to average about $750,000 on a kid. On the low end, because they try to have them already adopted by 15 months. So they kind of rush through the process a lot quicker. So I think that's where they cut the funding. But I think the general steal a kid budget seems to be about the same, no matter where you look at it.
Let's see. I'm looking here.
See, just in Quebec, it says in 2020, invest 90 million to bolster youth protection measures, and that's just Quebec. So,
and that's only million. Extra add-in to bolster.
Yeah.
So the government has taken a number of preventative measures to promote Healthy Start that will keep all children safe from potentially dangerous situations. The National Children's Age Agenda is a federal, provincial, territorial initiative with central focus on early childhood development, based on firm belief that a healthy start in the first years of childhood is a strong foundation for a better life. Do you know that the National Children's Agenda, is that like some mainstream thing, Jost? Do you know?
No, I've never heard of it.
No. Okay, so it says with a total federal government investment of $2.2 billion over 5 years, starting in 2001, provincial and territorial governments will use this increased funding to promote healthy pregnancy, birthing, and infancy.
Ain't that supposed to be like our Safe Families Act?
Well, that's what it sounds like. I'm trying to see here. Oh, Brooke, they have a message in there. Okay, good. Brooke sent the email, so let me go get her in here. Brooke seems like she's got a lot to say. Come on, Brooke, where are you? Brooke. Where is Brooke? Primary. Where are you, Brooke? Shoot. Brooke, I do not have an email from you yet there, dear. Again, it's abolishcps.com@gmail.com. That's the email I'm looking at right now. If you want to hurry up and throw that in here, that would be great. Again, it's abolishcps.com@gmail.com. Let's see. Okay, it's the bill time. You see that? That's coming around because all of these things say guarantee the bill. Hey, you know what, everybody? Oh, Herbert's in the house too. Welcome, Herbert. You know, guys, just saying that what I just said right here on the screen, there's a QR. I don't like to normally do this, but I will let you guys know that you know, if you could help in any way, support this stream, scan this little code here, it'd be great, and that would help us along. Because I just looked at the book things here. All right, as we're waiting for Brooke, we got Herbert coming in. Herbert, how we doing, buddy?
How you doing?
We're good.
Fine. How you doing?
We're good. Hey, we were just talking about a little bit of everything, but what do you think about this P. Diddy stuff?
About the what?
The Puff Daddy stuff. Have you gotten this yet?
Did you say Pump Daddy?
Puff Daddy.
Something about Debbie.
No, P. Diddy, the rap star. You know, Tupac, Puff Daddy,
I don't know.
Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he got tied into sex trafficking.
Oh, okay.
So they stormed his houses today in L.A. and in Miami at the same time. They went in and stormed their houses.
Well, you know, I tell you, I just learned a couple of days ago, I think Friday or Saturday, that Arizona is one of the biggest places for sex trafficking.
Yes, it is.
It's on the map. Arizona is on the map for sex trafficking.
Oh yeah, it's big on the map. Hey Carrie, how are you?
Yeah, I just learned that. I just learned that a few days ago. I can understand why. We're right next to the border.
You are the hub of where everything's coming through. You are one of them down there in Arizona, my man.
Yeah, we're right next. We're right here. I mean, I can literally. I'm only 2.5 hours away from touching the wall, touching the border fence.
Oh, you should get down there and get some coverage for us, Herbert.
Yeah, I could, but the thing is, there's nothing much I could do because the Border Patrol, they're not going to really let me get into where the action's at.
No, you've got to be able to pull some sort of something. You were a police officer at one point.
Yeah, but the Border Patrol, they'll question me more why, than they would do with other people going down there.
All right, so here you go.
All you got to do is show up and say, I'm looking for some young kids.
Yeah, right. What you need.
Yeah, right.
Right.
No, they don't want the press. They don't want the media.
Yeah, do they shut you down when you get close to that?
Yeah,
What is this? Wait a minute, hold on. So we have that border there. What do they do about the borders in Canada? Anything?
Nothing. It is the largest unpatrolled border in the in our U.S. Because you got to figure from Minnesota all the way over, it's wide open. When I was up in Langdon, North Dakota, I was in and out of Canada and didn't even know it.
Wow, that's crazy. Hey, everybody, say hi to Carrie. Carrie's here. Carrie's our #1 fan. We got her. She's here with us tonight.
Hey, Carrie.
And Brooke's coming in right now. We're going to talk to Brooke here. We're just waiting on her to come in. Herbert, so Josee finally got some news back. Not a lot, but someone did respond to her from the hospital. And
okay,
I'll let her go ahead and say, but
yeah. Well, we were right. Like I talked to the administrator, and she basically wanted to know if I made a complaint to the hospital, and I said yes. And she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna need their name. So I said, give me a second. I went upstairs, got my book, and then I said, well, on this date, I called this person at this time, on this time, at this time, at this time. And she was like a little bit flustered because I don't think she was expecting me to have receipts, right? And I was like, okay, well, I need the confirmation of, like, how is it possible that you let a baby leave with strangers, and who gave you the order to, like, to do that? And then she's like, well, I'm gonna need to talk to the person you talked to make sure that you really made a complaint. And then I was like, well, can you send me your protocols so I can have it? Well, it won't be me, it's gonna be her. And I'm like, well, I need this before the 2nd of April. And she's like, well, I can't promise you a number. And I was like, fine, if you can't promise me a number, your name is gonna go in my book, and I will ask the judge to give me a warrant to get that information from you. So, yeah.
That was smart. That was good. That was very good, Josee.
You did great. So, guys, here's Brooke.
Yeah.
Herbert, we got Brooke here with us. This is Brooke Bennett. She's,
hi, Brooke.
Hey, how are you guys? Hey, Brooke, how are you? What are you? What's your story, Brooke? What you got?
Well, I've been through 3 cases. My rights were terminated to my son July 2022. I have an older daughter. A lot of corruption. I didn't know my rights. I knew nothing. And I'm going to start school this year to become an attorney. I was gonna become a family attorney, but I think I'm gonna go do commerce and contract law instead, because that's where this all stems from.
Yeah, hit him in the pants. Hit him in the pocket. Hey,
Yep.
Brooke,
Well, I mean, everything is deranged around, like I was saying earlier in the chat, there's only 3 constitutional courts in the United States. The rest of them are commerce courts. We're going into them thinking that we're in constitutional court, and we're in a commerce court.
That's what there's. But you know, I found something the other day that said this, and I don't know how much truth there is to it, because I'm not a lawyer. We're not lawyers. None of us are lawyers here, people.
Nope.
So if you use whatever we say, research it yourself.
Yep.
But there's someone that said that because they're not using the Constitution in these district courts, they won't ever use it. You know, you can't use your Constitution. But if you use your state's Constitution, they have to abide by that. And a lot of state constitutions go hand in hand with the federal Constitution. I don't know how much I've been looking into that, though, and it seems like that this person might have been right, and that's a pretty solid piece of information. But like I say, research it for everybody else.
Yep.
So you're trying to advocate.
Darren, that's the argument we've made in our case, and that's why my case got continued for another month. Right. Is because literally at the start of the case, judge says, "Okay, we got a couple motions to hear." You know, it was pretty much we were gagging the GAL who comes in there with all her lies and her bullshit to make sure that if she couldn't prove the truth, she couldn't open her mouth. Hell, we didn't even get to hear the motions. They literally, you know, the one attorney, Richard, he stood up. He says, "Your Honor," he says, "I want to make oral argument for constitutional violation." Yeah, you've seen everyone hit the brakes and everyone's jaw drop. And judge says, okay, I'll take your oral statement for constitutional argument. And he did. And he said, you know, we argued a violation of substantial due process and procedural due process violations. And he says, okay, he says, well, everyone start preparing your brief. And we're going to send notice to the state attorney general, because now that it's constitutional, we have to have, being that I'm in Alabama, State Attorney General Steve Marshall has to be invited to come make his constitutional defense. So that's what I'm going back to court for on the 18th, is we're going to have a constitutional battle.
That's awesome. So that did work. That's perfect.
You can use constitutional law in the trial court, but you have to make a written or oral request to use it. And then they have to invite the state attorney general. And if the judge denies you, because I had a long conversation with Yancey about it. That's that constitutional attorney I have. I had a long conversation. I said, well, what if the judge denies the ability to make constitutional argument? He says, well, then you either, mandamus it to the Court of Appeals or the Supreme Court in your case, since you don't have a Court of Appeals. He says, otherwise you take it to a federal suit under 42 USC 1983. He says, that's your options. He says, but 9 times out of 10, you want to make a constitutional argument. If it ain't an attorney telling the judge that, judge ain't going to listen. He's going to ignore you like you're an idiot.
So it's going to lawyer you like you're dead. You're not there. You're not in this courtroom. You don't exist in there.
Right.
Brooke, what do you say about all of this stuff? I know that's what you're talking about. I mean, we're getting
personally, personally, I will never hire another attorney or even get a public defender ever again in my entire life. All of them have screwed me over. My appeals attorney, that was a public defender. Sorry, it's a habit.
You're right about that. Yeah, public defenders.
She had went into court and went behind my back and voluntarily dismissed my appeal without telling me or judging that I was in part of it. And I got a paper in the mail saying that my appeal had been, by my asking, had been dropped. And I'm like, what? My attorney in the third case, I actually got her on a what do they call that? A domination. She got an domination. I filed a grievance or whatever.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
Did you go back and file a request, a writ of mandamus for ineffective assistance to counsel after filing that grievance? Okay, well, you're Minnesota?
Yep, it took them a year and a little longer to get me that.
3 or 4 years under the ineffective assistance at the appellate level to go back under a mandamus and argue ineffective assistance of counsel, and that can actually that's arguing for a de novo of your appeal, which kind of resets it.
I have so many things that were corruptly done. Like I said, it took them 3 times. The third time they played really dirty. I got my kids back every single time. Never once during them 3 cases did I ever have to take parenting classes, which I thought was kind of funny if I was such a bad parent. Right. I was once required to take parenting classes, but the third time they played really dirty. They never even notified me of the hearing, first off. And then my lawyer, when they did the removal, they had no court warrant or order or anything to take my son. I had 3 town cops tackled me and ripped my son out of my arms. Like literally tackled me and ripped my son out of my arms because I wasn't going to give him to him. And then they didn't notify me of the court hearing. My lawyer my public pretender for that court hearing, I never even signed for him. They had him show up at that hearing, but I never even asked. I never even requested a public defender. I was going to defend myself, but he went in and acted in my whatever presence. And then what else did they do? Oh, he had told me that that was not an appealable order, and it was. He lied to me.
I got that. I got that.
Then I have them in their own writing in the social workers at the end of the case. You know, you can get the social workers notes and stuff. I have in their writing or their testimony saying that they forged her social workers boss or whatever told her she had asked her what she should do, because I never contracted with them. I never signed a case plan. I never agreed to nothing because I didn't need their services. I was doing the best I'd ever done in my whole entire life. I had my dream job, you know, house, car, all the, you know, on mortgage. I was working on a mortgage loan, all this stuff. I was doing great. But they came and took my son, and there was no reason for it. None at all. My mom wanted the foster care payments again because she had gotten the kids the first 2 times or whatever. So I didn't sign any. I did not contract with them. They should have not been able to do any of that. I think I was not given my due process rights in the beginning when they didn't notify me of the court hearing. So I think everything should be void after that.
It's supposed
if
to be
I'm understanding it right.
Yep. It should be void ab initio.
So it should be vacated. It should be vacated. I shouldn't even have to make it to the appellate level. The appellate level shouldn't even. Right.
Everything from the beginning, from that reset and all the way forward. So if you got a restraining order, if any other things got compounded on because of that, that all is supposed to be in a void ab initio. That's all supposed to be eliminated away.
Yep.
Supposed to be. You know, we know how things go.
Supposed to be.
Right.
I still haven't got a response for my appeal, and I did that in January.
Have they accepted
Oh,
it?
you ain't gonna hear back that quick. An appeal typically, so after you file your appeal, because me and Darren have had this conversation many a times, because he too's been waiting since December, January. Yeah. After you file it, it takes up to 30 days for them to accept it. Then they got to send out notice for other people to write a response brief.
Okay.
And send that in.
Well, actually, it wasn't an appeal. It was a refusal for the appeal.
For the district.
So remember, I appealed a decision. Right. And then after CPS refused the appeal process, and then we went to court to see if the refusal would be accepted. And I'm still waiting to see if the refusal is rejected so I can appeal.
So you can check it.
I tried. They won't answer me back.
Hey,
through the
Darren.
Pacer, or not the Pacer system, but the EMAX. Oops, sorry.
Everybody's talking. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, go away.
Hey, the leg.
Hey, Darren.
We'll just hear. Yes.
Since you're sitting next to your computer, can you look up Canadians' rule for denied by action of law?
Sure can.
Because I think it's 60 days out there.
So which would you be?
I thought it was 30. But now we're
Some cases are like here. It's decided by each state. They get their own, choice to decide. In Maine, it can be up to 6 months, depending on the question or motion in question. In my state, it's 21 days across the board. But I think Canada has a countrywide denial by action of law, and I want to say I think it's 60 days, because after you pass greater than 30 days, you can go ahead under a writ of mandamus type procedure. You'll have to look up what the rules in Canada are for. They call it a interlocutory appeal. And that's taking any decision that has not been ruled on or that is not a final order.
All right, Josee, you have 30 days from the date your family member received the refusal letter to file your notice of appeal.
That I did.
Okay, so then I guess it's on them.
Did you notify the appellate court, your appellate level court, when you filed your notice of appeal? Because you got to file in both places.
Yep.
I'm gonna look into it.
No. The only thing I filed the appeal the 5th of December. Okay.
In
the
district.
18th of I filed the appeal like in the appeals court, okay, and then the 18th of December, I got a letter from the CPS saying that they refused the appeal because they didn't want me to appeal it, and then I think like in the end of January, we went to the appeals court, and it was a lawyer from Quebec or whatever, not from the region. And then she took my book of evidence regardless, and I'm still waiting for the decision to see if she refuses it so I can appeal. That's what, like, but I fucking know nothing about law. So, like, I'm just going with the flow, right? So,
if I was you, Josee, what I would do, I would call your civil appeals department. And 9 times out of 10, the clerks that work at the civil appeal level, because of the fact that so many families are having to do appeals themselves, because they either, one, make too much money for court appointed, therefore they get stuck having to do it themselves, because an appellate attorney is very expensive. Well, if you call and you talk to them, they'll either tell you the procedure or tell you where to find it on their website.
Okay.
And they'll almost always have some kind of how-to manual for it. But what you want to find out about filing, though, because if it's denied by action of law, then you're looking at what's called an interlocutory appeal, which means an appeal of an answer or no answer, of something that ain't a final answer. Because then you're asking the appellate courts, you're saying, hey, this is his job. Make him do his job. Make him make a decision.
Okay.
I think, I don't know, looking back at everything. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think if there was one thing that I would have done differently and that I'm struggling with right now to try to figure out is, like everybody wants to hurry up and get past the district and the appeals courts and they want to run to federal and everything, but them are the people that contracted CPS in the first place. I don't understand how that's gonna benefit us. They're just gonna keep going around in circles and stuff.
Yeah, but the way the higher courts benefit you is, okay, so I spend a lot of my time in the day speaking to attorneys all day long, okay? At the trial court, that judge deals with you as a person. They deal with the workers as a person. They deal with your kids as a person. The appellate, the Supreme, and even the federal, the U.S., district court, they deal with the actual statutes. So when you go to the higher level, you're not arguing your case as I'm the mother of 3 kids who got stepped on. You're arguing the case of this worker was supposed to do this on this date and didn't. The judge was supposed to do this on this date and didn't. And I did all 3 things I was supposed to, and I received no acknowledgement of it. Therefore, these are the rules they broke. And this is what the previous case laws that were established in my state say you must do. And that's why the higher level is the better place to beat them, because you'll almost never beat them at the trial level. And you're not going to beat them at the appellate level if you go up there arguing, but I love my children. But I love my children. Because at that level, it's not about the like, the dislike, the love, the abuse. It's about strictly the statutory law and how case law shows. This is how your case must be handled. Not should be handled, not could be handled, but must.
That's good information.
Unless they were going to make a what do they call that? A presidential, or, I'm tongue-tied. They're going to make a change in the law or whatever. The presidential.
Do you have something to write with? I'll give you my number and you can call me and I can teach you a couple appellate things that may be actually very useful to you.
Right.
Josee, I just found some good stuff for you that I'm going to email you.
Yeah, there you go.
My number is
give her my
251.
Email. Okay. 251.
Don't give your number out here. People might take it.
No.
Yeah,
everyone can have my number.
Okay.
No. My number is all over. I'm actually registered with National Crisis Hotlines. I get calls from people all over the country.
Right on.
So my number is 251-727-0402. And for anyone listening, if you have a question about your case or you need something, call me. Preferably not after midnight, but call me.
Are you Central Time or what time zone are you in?
Yeah, I'm Central.
Okay.
Hey, Brooke, do you want to come back on tomorrow night?
Sure.
Hey, Darren.
Talk a little bit with us? Yes.
Sure.
Tomorrow night, Cheryl and Elizabeth from Nashville wanted to come on.
We'll have a good powwow.
Well, that's National Action Network, and Elizabeth. You remember me telling you about the case where they framed the husband and wife combo, and they've been holding their kids for 6 years, and they've been beaten, raped, starved, tied up, and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I got framed.
Yeah.
Yep.
They wanted to see if you was available tomorrow because they wanted to come on.
Hey, we'll run late tomorrow if we got to run late. That'll be great. That'll be
okay.
Good stuff. There'll give you a lot of information. That'll be for that. Josee,
yeah, and we'll also be advertising tomorrow through National Action Network more information on our advocacy programs to train and license advocates across the U.S.
Cool.
Good. All right, Josee, you got any last words from up north? I got this.
No.
I got a good stuff right here. I'm going to email it to you right now.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Melissa, you got any last words?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Brooke, you want to kick out anything before you're out of here? No?
Nope. I don't want to hold you up too long. We got tomorrow.
We'll talk about it tomorrow night. You guys already heard what we're going to be doing tomorrow night, so make sure you check in with us. All right, guys, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. Josee, I love Josee Mondays. I can't wait to talk to you next Monday and hear some results because you're going to love what I'm going to send you. So thank you for being on with us, Josee, again.
Right on.
Ladies, I will see you all tomorrow night.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. I'm excited. This is exciting stuff. I don't know where Herbert went, but he checked out. So there we have it. We got P. Diddy in the news. We got sex trafficking. We got all kinds of stuff that's shit's hitting the fan, people. And, every bit that this news media helps us with this, it's getting big. It's getting real. And, hell, we'll see what happens tomorrow night. I'm CPS Punisher. I'm out of here.